This is Amy with Creative Catapult Coaching,
And Megan with Focus Like a Mother and Change HP.
and this is the Control Out Think podcast, conversations with neurodivergent minds.
And today we decided we want to talk about creature comforts because here it's cold, dreary, rain, sleet. We had sleet. Um,
Ew.
it said it was going to rain today, and then I looked out the window and was like, "That's that's frozen," but okay. Um,
And I'll add dark.
and dark.
We're further north, so we get less daylight. It's starting to improve, but I think it still feels like it's dark at 4. It might be 4:30.
And we're getting to ready to go into the winter months that you know, just kind of feel like when will spring get here? So creature comforts seems to
Creature
fit well
comforts.
for today. Um,
And
so
this
I've
was
got,
by your mug.
yes, so because I'm sitting here enjoying a Christmas present from my sister-in-law, an insulated coffee mug so that my mom coffee will stay hot for at least a few hours.
Excellent. And I'm was just looking around it. I've done a lot of stuff to my space over the years. Creature comforts for me are really a lot about bright light and a lot of bright light.
And it's interesting. It's similar for me, but mine is like being by windows or being outside. Although a lot of times if I'm outside, I have to wear sunglasses, which is my eyes are very particular. Um, but yeah, it's being like I've set myself up to where I can sit and get work done where I can be by bright lights.
Yeah, you're more of the indirect. I
Mhm.
sometime in college discovered I had seasonal depression, so God, that wasn't what I meant to do. Um, they're bright. I've got about 3 or 4 of these scattered around the house in different places so that I don't have to move them. So I can sit curled up on the couch with my coffee in the morning. As some people have felt like being blinded by light, I just feel like it makes my brain happy. So that, what are some of my other creature comforts? We were talking about how much more I'm wearing yellow glasses while driving at night because headlights make me irrationally angry, and then I'm annoyed that I'm annoyed or reactive. So that's another thing I do. I was also saying that I really, really like, I got a new jacket for Christmas and it's heavy. It's not like a weighted blanket heavy, but I didn't realize that part of why I like it is that I can tell I'm wearing a jacket.
Mm,
Like a lot of the fluffy
hmm
puffier jackets. I think I'd much rather have something that's got some substantial weave and weight to it.
mm. Yeah, and on the glasses, so I'm wearing computer glasses right now. So anybody looking at the video, my lenses are more yellow than usual, but that's a creature comfort of like if I'm doing a lot of stuff on the computer. Um, but we've had a lot of illness in our house recently, so my eyes are very tired. So I was like, "Ah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the computer glasses today." Um, and I've seen ads for weighted hoodies, and I have not experienced that yet. I haven't tried those yet, but they looked really interesting. We do have, my daughter loves her little weighted blanket. So for creature comfort, just curling up under a little tiny, it's like the cutest tiny little
That's
weighted
adorable.
blanket that's only like 2 pounds or whatever, but it's super cozy and comfy. And then something that our family got as a family gift for Christmas was a giant beanbag chair that turns into a crash pad. But that has become a creature comfort for all of us. So we kind of take turns of who wants to go sit and curl up in the beanbag chair. Both kids will fit at the same time, or I'll sit on one side and they like to crash on against the back of it. But just creature comforts of being it's sort of because it's got like memory foam chunks in it. It's very warm and cozy.
That sounds nice.
And then I have my go-to, like it's known as mom's blanket. Um, but it is my particular blanket on the couch in the wintertime that um if I want, we keep the house fairly cold. It's like here's a blanket to curl up under. Um, so and then just sitting in certain spaces or in certain kinds of chairs or whatever. I am a very petite person, so if I find a chair that fits me well, it's like, oh, this is my chair. This is this is my spot now. Um, but yeah, what other, I'm trying to think of other like creature comforts that we've got
I'm
besides.
not sure I'd call it a creature comfort, but early on in the pandemic, I got a folding treadmill for my living room because at that point we thought if we breathed, we might die. Um, but when it's drizzling and I really don't want to go outside and I can't walk around my apartment anymore, my apartment is big enough, but it's not really meant for taking a walk in. While I
Mm-hmm.
do love walking on the treadmill, I will admit that I have turned it on and I'm really glad that I don't have to go outside in the rain to try and get some exercise, even though it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
It's
have.
not the same, but it's still something is better than nothing. So I don't like what I term aggressive mist that we have a lot of it this time of year.
Ah.
So it's very light drizzle that can be
Mm-hmm.
windblown and is just not something I like on my skin.
Mm. Yeah, the creature comfort of the convenience of being able to get movement in inside. So um we have one piece of exercise equipment that my husband and I both are able to use, but I was having flashbacks of when I lived in Florida in our little condo that kind of probably similar to your apartment. I had my step goals and it would be raining because it's Florida and I or it would be too late at night and it'd be really dark or buggy outside and I wasn't gonna go outside or it was, 95 degrees and 80% humidity. So I
Ugh.
used to do laps around our little tiny condo, like back and forth to try to get all my steps. So I can relate on the like how do I get movement in when I can't do it outside? So when we moved to our house, that was one thing that we decided we needed was some way to get movement in the house. And I would say, yeah, that's a creature comfort of being able to make your body comfortable no matter what the weather is. Um,
Right. And how much I'm at a point where I apologize a lot less for a lot of the low grade stuff I do.
mm,
The yellow glasses or the earplugs, not even earplugs, but ear sleeves. A
yeah.
lot of things that in the past would have been sort of self-conscious. One of the questions that I've really started paying attention to more is asking myself, is my body comfortable? And I'm
Mm,
surprised how often I'm not.
mm,
But it's real low grade but it kind of eats at my mood, I'm
hmm.
realizing.
Well, and like you mentioned, earplugs and ear sleeves. So I have loop earplugs. I have not gotten Flare Audio ear sleeves yet. Um, but like I'll take them. We actually have a little, it's a pacifier case. It's meant to hold pacifiers and clip on
Uh-huh.
a diaper bag, but we have my earplugs in a little case inside of it and my husband's earplugs. And then we take earmuffs for both kids when we go places just in case. Um, like we have our little, um, I guess, creature comforts and kind of sensory stuff in this little case and in a little bag that we take with us when we go to like restaurants or other things that it's like, oh, it's too loud in here. And part of it is, and I try not to apologize, but part of it is also me modeling for my kids. Like it's okay to take care of your body and
Hmm.
do what your body needs. And I honestly don't think I would have looked at it that way until I was trying to model it for my kids. Before that, I would have just always been um, like explaining or apologizing or whatever, but I keep a this one's really worn out, uh a calm strip on a keychain in that little case and other stuff that it's like if I'm going to networking or whatever, I take those creature comforts. But even things like clothes, um, so like in our house, we're particular about we each have our own things that we wear or don't wear. Um, but it's like clothes. Like I have, it's wintertime, it's cold here. We have hard floors. I have, I call them house shoes, but very comfortable slippers that I pretty much live in if I'm in the house. Um,
Yeah.
right? Or comfortable socks, like some of the fuzzy socks I can do, some of the other ones I can't do.
Yeah, I don't love socks. And I don't, when it's cold, and there are points I do wear them. I have loved barefoot shoes, but Seattle in the winter where the ground never dries is not real conducive to a lot of the very minimal sole shoes that
Hmm.
I prefer to wear. So creature comforts in that space are, finding some other shoes that work and, my feet are not cold and wet while I'm doing things.
I just thought of another creature comfort. Sorry, that's why I went, oh,
Wasn't sure if it was that
brain.
or oh,
The brain woke up. Um, Speaking of creature comforts we can take with us, um, hot hands. Have you heard of hot hands, Amy?
like are those like the air activated?
Yeah, it's like the little pouch and you open it and they get really warm. So one of the things is I have something called Raynaud syndrome, so my fingers will turn like
Oh, yeah.
purple when it's really cold out, or even if it's like 50 degrees and I go for a run because of the way circulation works, my fingers and my lips will get really cold. So I started getting hot hands to switch between my hands when I would go for a run. But I've also figured out that they're good to have around when it starts to get really cold outside and we're going to be outside for a while. They also make an excellent gift for your mail person, for your mail carrier, because our mail
Excellent.
lady was super thrilled when it was a really cold week. And I was like, hey, here, you need some of these. But that's a
Yeah,
creature comfort that we take with us. So I actually put some pouches, some packets of them in the console of mine and my husband's cars so that if we're out and about somewhere and it's just like I am really not comfortable, we can at least like take it with us because you never know when you're going to be someplace really cold. But that's
it
a
does
creature comfort
happen.
to go.
Yeah, my mom got my siblings. My hands get sweaty, and so I tend to not like those kinds of things. My own sensory preferences. Um, but she got USB powered hand warmers, so rechargeable hand warmers
Nice.
for several people this year. And
See, and I'm particular about my gloves in the winter. If you hear banging, it's because my husband's trying to clean the garage. I'm sorry, everybody. Uh,
I did not a
Below
sound
me.
went
Um,
through.
but I'm particular about my gloves that I don't like the knit ones that feel weird and get wet. So it's like I have my one pair of gloves and when those wore out, then I had to try to find the exact same pair, but I like my fingers to be warm and there's the battle of gloves versus mittens. Some people really like mittens, some people really like gloves. Um, I just heard that my grandma really likes the knit gloves, and they were trying to find her a pair for the winter. Um, but everybody's got their winter creature comfort preferences for what we
Yeah,
wear outside.
I like the option to have gloves, but basically what I want is gloves that are basically a windblock shell. That's
Okay,
all I want because my hands get
sweaty.
and just too warm and yeah,
Hmm.
it's weird.
Hmm.
Because it's not that cold up here once you're moving. I mean, 45 is not warm, but when you're all bundled up, and when putting
Hmm.
extra layers on your hands, and I've always been that person who really easily overheats. It's like I've got a very minimal temperature range that feels okay to me.
Hmm.
I don't think I'm quite as bad with heat as some people, but I just don't do well with it.
think at least one of my kids has a very narrow range of comfort. Uh, he overheats very quickly and very easily. Um, so we're always like, even when he was little, we had to have an extra fan around because he would literally overheat. But that's just the way his body works. But like this, I'm chuckling because this morning it was like, Bud, we got to get ready for school. I'm cold. So it's like, okay, your your level of comfort is like 70 to 72 degrees, and that's it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
But
we're getting a little more off topic, but yeah, some of that comfort made for some really interesting exercise challenges for me as a kid. It's like, or even as a youth. And now in retrospect, I can see I really, really hated putting on a damp swimsuit. I was on swim team, especially,
couldn't do that.
when it was in the morning and you just but I really like the swimming was in many ways a better fit for me because I could put my head underwater because I turned red so fast because I got so hot.
Mm,
So having like the full body
yeah,
pool
being in the
water
pool.
really was helpful.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I was just thinking the other day about the sensory, the whole, this is way off topic, so I'll bring it back in a second. Um, I had seen something talking about neurodivergent, in that case was specifically ADHD people and showers and the whole sensory experience on top of the executive function of having to remember to do all the things and all of that. But I was just thinking about how my brain actually thinks more clearly. Sometimes, like, you come up with the good ideas in the shower and whatnot, but there is a tie sensory wise to water and all of that. But that's a whole I think that'll be a whole nother
that'll
topic.
be a whole nother topic. That
The
should
magic of
have to
water.
add that to the list.
But
Um,
I was thinking about other, so we talked about creature comforts that we take with us, and we talked a little bit about, we've talked about our workspaces before, but like I sit on a wobble chair, which I suppose is a creature comfort. Um, and then like I have a blanket in my office and like a flannel shirt because it gets cold up here. But just different, do you have any other creature comforts that are
does
critical
coffee
to daily
count?
life?
Does coffee count?
I I think coffee is like a requirement in my house, but I
But
drink,
yeah,
so I'm
I
weird, I drink both coffee and tea, and I have mixed them together before, but that's just me being weird. Your face.
on. I'm like, my brain just kind of stopped. I'm like,
It was an experiment and it
I
didn't
like
turn out
coffee
bad,
more.
so
I will drink tea on occasion, but the whole together, my brain was trying to taste them and it just was not
yeah,
computing.
it was an experiment when I thought I really needed a lot of caffeine. And we had both coffee and tea bags at work, and I was like, I'm gonna put a tea bag in my coffee and see how this goes.
Well, see, that's when you should go for the whole shot in the dark if you were had an espresso stand.
True, yeah. But anyway,
Anyway, it
coffee
was
is a creature comfort.
um
We make lots of coffee.
other creature comforts that go with me. I had before starting in on the exercise. Sometimes things I've done to make it easier for myself, which I guess in some ways are kind of creature comforts. Also, peep really draw attention and can look highly innovative. Um, I've been struggling with energy stuff for a long time, and I was really frustrated that I couldn't get my paddleboard from the little locker I've got it in.
Mhm.
It's not quite a quarter mile down to the dock on the river. And but I was so frustrated that I actually discovered that there are wheels that you can put on your paddleboard, and people were like, it was like people were like, I didn't know that was a thing. And so it's like sometimes solving a need or a creature comfort can actually make you look extremely innovative as long as you're willing to roll with it and
So I
not
think
be apologetic.
some of the things that my husband and I are both engineers. So some of the things that we do, people are like, you did you did what? Oh, oh. But we have, I guess they are creature comforts, but weird convenience features. So we have a lot of like smart lights and whatnot, but like I have lights on timers. So I make like our bedroom lights turn on in the morning at a certain
Mhm.
time and are on in the evening, or I can tell it like, hey, I'm going to bed in 30 minutes. Like certain lights turn off at the same time every night, and it's more of like a reminder to me of, hey, the light went off, you should probably be going to sleep now, it's really
You
late.
know, that's a really common, I love that too, because I've got all my lights are on smart timers or
Hmm.
our smart light bulbs. And
And then
just having the light go off is like that external
hmm
soft reminder of, yeah, it's time for bed.
and
And
there
yeah, I
are
can
other
turn it back
weird,
on. I do
well,
sometimes.
but like weird innovative things. Something that we have now vowed to, so we own our house so we can do changes and whatnot, but one thing that we put in a past house, because the bathroom kept getting really steamy. So you get in the shower, you forget to turn on the fan thingy, and then the bathroom gets all steamy and the water like is dripping down the walls. Um, so we put in automatic fan switches with a little humidity sensor thing. Um, but the cool thing about it is if you manually push the button and turn it on, you can set how long you want the timer to go for. So ours goes for 20 minutes because it was like, oh, we need to turn on the vent fan. And then 3 hours later, it'd be like the vent fan is still on. So weird convenience features or things kind of like wheels for the paddleboard. It's like, oh, I have a vent fan in the bathroom that you turn it on and it runs for 20 minutes and then it turns itself off. Or if it gets too steamy in the bathroom, it'll turn itself on, which we don't have that problem as much here. But it's dumb things that require less executive
Right.
function.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, again, because so much of that stuff that at this point in my life I just take for granted, and then somebody sees it and it's just like, that's so cool. And I'm like, but what do you mean you haven't done that since you were 15 and your parents didn't help you figure that out? That's
Yeah.
weird. Okay,
It's
that's fine.
it's weird that it's like we've kind of the little problem solving things that we've each come up with, they are creature comforts, but I don't really realize it is until somebody else says, "Oh, you have the coolest way of doing da 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 da," da," and it's like, "Oh, well, yeah."
Yeah.
It's just that's just
Where
how I
for
live.
others too, maybe for others they're comforts, and some of the things for us are almost necessity, or making.
There are things that now like I couldn't imagine going backwards. And actually my parents are visiting, so I actually asked her like, how is it different? I asked my mom like, how is it different now versus like when you were parenting a toddler kind of thing? Like our grocery list, a creature comfort. I can just tell my phone or whatever to put something on the grocery list versus, writing it down. Those just
Finding the list, finding
convenience things.
and finding the list then when you go shopping.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, at least the list is on my phone and I didn't forget it at home. Although sometimes I forget my phone at home, but that's a different.
That's a
But
different.
we're kind of towards the end of our time.
Yeah,
What
I thought
other?
of one more
Okay,
creature comfort, the espresso machine on an auto timer to turn on.
okay, mine is not that fancy.
This has been a newer thing in the last 6 months to a year, but creature comfort, able to go make good coffee when I'm ready for it.
Yes, and the last one that I'll add, since you added something on a timer, is one that we actually talked about since my kid is cold in the morning, and we're learning to use the potty, and the bathroom is freezing. I will give that to him. Like, why do I want to go sit on a freezing cold potty in the morning? I used to have, I think I've told you this before, a little space heater that like had a clock on it and
Mhm.
you could tell it like almost like an alarm clock and it would start to warm up. And I used to use it in the bathroom when I lived up in Indiana many long time ago. Um, that my husband was like, maybe we need to see if that thing is still safe or get something similar that's just, a little safe heater. Space heaters can be
Mhm.
scary, but one that's safe that'll just automatically bring the temperature up just enough that it's not freezing. And that is my last creature comfort of how do you make the bathroom warm in the winter before you get there?
That sounds, yeah. Anyway, lots
With
of
that,
great things we've done and continue to do. I'm Amy with Creative Catapult Coaching.
and I'm Megan with Focus Like a Mother and Change HP. And if you would like to connect with either of us, you can find us on social media or just by Googling Creative Catapult Coaching or Focus Like a Mother.
It's actually Creative Catapult Coach. I do own
Oh,
the second domain name that I really should point at my domain. But anyway, creativecatapultcoach.com.
all right. And with that, we will go get ourselves comfortable and get some work done today.
All right. Take care. See you guys next time.